Let's be honest, the most dangerous woman you will ever meet is not the one chasing attention. It's the one trying to hide the fact that she's emotionally attached to you. Because when a woman is truly falling for a man, fear enters the room before love ever speaks. And most men completely miss the signs until it's too late. She will laugh normally with other men. She will speak casually with them. But with you, something changes. Her energy becomes uneven. Her emotions become harder to control. And suddenly, the woman who seemed confident around everyone else becomes strangely careful around you. That's your first sign. A woman hiding feelings becomes hyper-aware of herself in your presence. You'll notice little pauses before she speaks, tiny moments where she almost says something personal, then pulls back at the last second. It's because attraction makes people vulnerable, and women are experts at protecting emotional vulnerability when they're unsure where they stand with a man. Most men think attraction looks obvious, loud, direct, physical, but deep emotional attraction is usually quiet. It hides behind hesitation. It hides behind mixed signals. It hides behind emotional restraint, especially when the woman fears rejection, embarrassment, or losing control of her emotions. And here's what almost nobody tells men. A woman who is genuinely falling for you often becomes emotionally inconsistent before she becomes emotionally available. One day she's warm, the next day she's distant. One conversation feels intense, the next feels guarded. You think she's confused, but the truth is, she's fighting herself. Part of her wants to move closer to you emotionally. The other part is terrified you'll notice how much power you suddenly have over her emotions. That inner conflict creates behaviors most men misread. She remembers things you barely mentioned weeks ago, small details, tiny preferences, random stories. Because when a woman emotionally invests in a man, her attention naturally locks onto him, not because she's trying to impress you. Because emotionally attached women observe differently. They study the man who affects them emotionally, but she won't openly admit it. Instead, she hides her care inside casual conversation. You'll mention being stressed once, and days later she checks on you indirectly. You'll mention your favorite food, and somehow she brings it up later, like it's coincidence. You'll mention a personal dream, and suddenly she's asking deeper questions without directly revealing why she cares so much. That's not random curiosity. That's emotional attachment trying not to expose itself. And the strongest clue is hidden inside her eyes. A woman hiding feelings will often break eye contact first, after intense moments. Not because she lacks confidence, but because prolonged eye contact with someone you secretly desire feels emotionally exposing. Her eyes reveal more truth than her words ever will. That's why she looks away. She's trying to regain emotional control before you see too much, but then she'll look back again. Because attraction pulls harder than fear. And the moment you understand this, you stop chasing obvious signals like a desperate man searching for validation. You start noticing emotional tension instead, because real attraction is tension. It's restraint. It's the silent battle between desire and self-protection. Most women won't say, "I'm falling for you." They'll show you in fragments, in reactions, in emotional slips they immediately try to hide. And the man who understands those fragments sees what other men never will. The second sign is the one that confuses men the most. Because it doesn't feel like love at all in the beginning. It feels like resistance. A woman who is secretly falling for you will sometimes challenge you more than anyone else. Not because she dislikes you, because emotionally invested women test emotional safety before they surrender emotional trust. And most men fail this stage completely. The second a woman becomes difficult, emotionally unpredictable, or slightly defensive, insecure men panic. They chase harder. They over-explain themselves. They seek reassurance. And without realizing it, they destroy the mystery and emotional strength that attracted her in the first place. But a woman hiding feelings is watching something deeper. She's watching how you react when emotions become uncomfortable. Can you stay calm when she pulls away slightly? Can you remain grounded when her mood shifts? Can you hold your self-respect without becoming cold or needy? Because women are deeply affected by emotional steadiness in men, especially women who secretly want emotional closeness but fear emotional disappointment. And here's the truth most men never hear. Women rarely hide feelings from men they don't care about. They hide feelings from the men who actually matter. Because the more a woman values a man emotionally, the more cautious she becomes around him. His opinion starts carrying emotional weight. His absence feels louder. His attention affects her mood more than she wants to admit. That loss of emotional control scares her. So instead of becoming softer immediately, she often becomes more careful. You'll notice her trying to appear unaffected. She might take longer to reply sometimes. She may pretend not to care where you are. She may act overly casual about your presence, but then small cracks begin to appear in her behavior. She notices when other women are around you, not always openly. Sometimes it's subtle. Her energy shifts. Her questions become sharper. Her attention increases. Suddenly, she's more alert when another woman enters the conversation. Because jealousy rarely begins as anger. It begins as emotional awareness. And women who are emotionally attached become highly aware of threats to emotional connection. But she won't say it directly. Instead, she may tease you about another girl. She may ask indirect questions. She may suddenly become quieter when you mention someone else. Not because she wants drama, but because hidden feelings create hidden fear. Fear of replacement, fear of losing emotional significance. And there's another behavior almost no man notices. When a woman secretly likes you, she starts emotionally reacting to your approval without meaning to. Your compliments affect her differently. Your attention changes her mood. Your silence becomes noticeable. Even tiny shifts in your behavior create emotional ripples inside her that she tries hard not to reveal. That's why she sometimes seems emotionally sensitive around you while acting completely normal around everyone else. You are no longer just another man in her mind. You've become emotionally influential. And once that happens, her behavior changes in tiny ways she cannot fully control. She fixes her appearance more carefully around you. She becomes more self-aware when speaking. She replays conversations afterward, wondering if she sounded foolish. She notices your reactions more than she should, because attraction makes people emotionally observant. But hidden love creates emotional tension, and that tension becomes strongest during silence. Watch how she behaves during quiet moments with you. Does she seem nervous for no reason? Does she randomly smile while trying to hide it? Does she create unnecessary conversation just to keep the interaction alive a little longer? Those moments matter more than rehearsed flirting ever will, because genuine emotional attachment leaks out during unguarded seconds. Not through perfect words, not through dramatic confessions, but through the small emotional reactions she cannot fully control, no matter how hard she tries to hide them. There's a moment that happens when a woman is secretly falling for you, and if you miss it, you'll misunderstand her completely. It's the moment she starts emotionally orbiting your life without fully stepping into it. She won't always initiate direct attention. In fact, sometimes she'll hold herself back on purpose, but somehow she keeps appearing around you. Your conversations become longer, her presence becomes more frequent. She finds subtle reasons to stay connected even when there's no logical reason to continue the interaction. That is not accidental. When a woman feels emotionally drawn to a man, proximity becomes emotional comfort. She wants access to your energy before she's ready to confess attachment. So instead of openly pursuing you, she quietly increases emotional exposure to you. And most men never recognize this because they're too busy looking for obvious flirting. But hidden attraction is rarely loud. It's quiet consistency. It's her viewing your stories quickly. It's her remembering when something important happens in your life. It's her checking in with random excuses that don't actually require conversation. It's her sending something that reminded her of you while pretending it was casual. That word casual becomes her emotional disguise. Because women hiding feelings often protect themselves behind normal behavior. They don't want to risk looking emotionally invested too early, especially if they've been hurt before, especially if they fear you don't feel the same. So they create safe forms of connection instead. And here's where it gets deeper. A woman secretly falling for you starts craving emotional reassurance without directly asking for it. She watches your consistency carefully. She notices changes in your tone. She pays attention to how available you are emotionally, not because she's needy, but because emotional attachment naturally creates emotional sensitivity. If your energy suddenly changes, she feels it instantly. And sometimes She reacts in ways that seem irrational to men. She becomes quieter, slightly colder, more distant, maybe even sarcastic. But underneath that reaction is usually one painful question she'll never say out loud. Am I losing emotional importance to him? That question changes female behavior more than men realize. Because when a woman truly likes you, your attention stops feeling casual to her. It starts feeling emotionally meaningful. Your validation matters more. Your absence feels heavier. Your inconsistency creates anxiety she tries to hide behind pride. And pride becomes her shield. That's why many women would rather act detached than admit emotional dependence. They fear vulnerability far more than men understand, especially with the man who affects them emotionally the most. But despite all her attempts to stay controlled, her emotions leak through in certain moments. Watch how she reacts when you genuinely open up emotionally. Not fake vulnerability, not self-pity, real emotional honesty. If she secretly cares about you, her entire energy changes during those moments. She becomes deeply attentive, softer, more emotionally present. Because women emotionally bond through emotional depth, not surface-level performance. A woman hiding feelings may resist flirtation, but she struggles to resist emotional connection. That's why late-night conversations become dangerous territory for hidden emotions. The walls come down slightly. The guarded version of her weakens. She starts revealing personal thoughts, fears, memories, and emotions she doesn't normally share. And afterward, she may pull back a little. Not because the connection was fake, because it felt too real. That emotional exposure scares her once she realizes how much she revealed, so she regains distance to feel safe again. And men who don't understand female psychology misinterpret this cycle completely. They think she lost interest. No, she felt too much at once. And when a woman feels deeply before she feels safe, her instinct is often to hide, not chase. One of the clearest signs she's secretly falling for you is hidden inside the way she reacts to your future. Not your money, not your status, your future. A woman emotionally attached to a man slowly begins placing him inside her mental world without even realizing it. She starts imagining where he's going, what kind of life he'll build, who he might become years from now. And when a woman starts emotionally picturing your future, her behavior changes in ways that are impossible to fake consistently. She becomes deeply curious about your goals. Not in a shallow way, she asks questions with emotional attention behind them. She wants to know what drives you when nobody is watching, what keeps you awake at night, what kind of pain shaped you, what kind of future you secretly want but rarely say out loud. Because women don't emotionally fall for men based only on appearance. They emotionally fall for direction. And when she sees purpose inside a man, attraction becomes emotional admiration. That's the stage where feelings stop being temporary excitement and start becoming emotional investment. But here's what most men miss. A woman hiding feelings will rarely compliment you directly the way men expect. Instead of saying, "I admire you," she supports your growth in subtle ways. She encourages your ideas. She remembers your ambitions. She becomes emotionally affected when you doubt yourself. She celebrates your wins with genuine excitement that feels deeper than politeness, because your progress starts feeling personal to her. And that emotional involvement is dangerous for a woman trying to hide her feelings. So she often balances it by acting emotionally composed right afterward, almost like she revealed too much care accidentally. But the truth always leaks eventually. You'll notice it when you're struggling. That's when hidden feelings become hardest to conceal. A woman secretly falling for you feels your emotional pain differently than other people do. Your stress affects her mood. Your silence worries her. Your exhaustion softens her. Even when she pretends not to care openly, emotionally attached women carry concern quietly. And concern is one of the purest forms of hidden love. She may not say emotional words directly, but she checks if you ate. She asks if you got home safe. She notices when your energy changes before anyone else does. She becomes protective in quiet ways that look small from the outside but mean everything underneath. Because love often begins in care long before it becomes confession. And then comes one of the biggest signs of all. She starts revealing pieces of herself she normally hides from people. Not the polished version, the real version, her insecurities, her fears, her embarrassing stories, her emotional scars. Women do not emotionally expose themselves to men they feel nothing for. Vulnerability is expensive emotionally, and women protect it carefully. So when she slowly lowers that guard around you, pay attention. That is trust forming underneath attraction. And trust is what transforms chemistry into emotional attachment. But there's something else you need to understand. A woman secretly falling for you may suddenly become afraid of ruining the connection entirely. That fear creates emotional contradictions. Some days she moves closer emotionally. Other days she creates distance. Some moments she feels deeply connected to you. Other moments she acts confusingly detached. Why? Because hidden feelings create emotional risk. The stronger her feelings become, the more she realizes you now have the power to hurt her emotionally. And that realization changes female behavior dramatically. She becomes more cautious with her emotions while simultaneously wanting you more deeply. That internal war exhausts her. And if you're paying attention closely, you'll see it in the moments where she almost confesses something emotional, then stops herself halfway and changes the subject. Because part of her wants you to notice, and another part desperately hopes you don't. There's a stage where a woman hiding feelings begins losing the ability to emotionally pretend around you, and this is where the truth finally starts escaping through her behavior, no matter how hard she tries to control it. You'll notice it in the smallest moments first, the way her face changes when she sees you unexpectedly. That reaction happens before logic has time to interfere, before pride can hide emotion. For 1 second, her guard disappears completely, and you see genuine happiness flash across her face before she regains control. That moment matters, because real feelings always reveal themselves fastest through instinctive reactions, and the deeper her emotions become, the harder it becomes for her to stay emotionally neutral around you, even when she tries. She may suddenly become more emotionally available late at night, more reflective, more honest, more curious about your mind. Conversations become less surface level and more emotionally intimate without either of you fully acknowledging it. That's because emotional attraction naturally seeks emotional depth. A woman who secretly likes you wants to understand how you think. She wants access to the parts of you other people don't see. Not because she's collecting information, but because emotional connection creates emotional fascination. And once that fascination starts, you become psychologically significant to her. That changes everything. Your approval feels more rewarding. Your disappointment feels heavier. Your distance becomes emotionally loud. And your presence starts affecting her nervous system in subtle ways she cannot fully control. This is why emotionally attached women sometimes act strangely calm while sitting next to the man they secretly want, yet spend hours replaying every conversation afterward in their minds. Because hidden love creates internal chaos behind external composure. And here's something most men completely underestimate. Women often express hidden feelings through emotional availability, not direct confession. She makes time for you even when she's busy. She responds when emotionally drained. She listens carefully when you speak about things that matter to you. She stays present during difficult conversations instead of disappearing the second emotions become uncomfortable. That level of emotional presence is rare. People protect their energy carefully. So when someone repeatedly gives you emotional attention, emotional patience, and emotional consistency, it usually means you occupy an important emotional space in their life. But because she's hiding her feelings, she'll still try to downplay it. She'll act like helping you was nothing, like checking on you was casual, like caring about your emotional state is completely normal. Meanwhile, nobody else receives that same version of her. And deep down, she knows it. That's why sometimes she becomes frustrated with herself around you. Because hidden emotions create emotional pressure. The more she suppresses them, the stronger they become internally. And eventually, little emotional slips start happening. She accidentally gets too excited hearing from you. She smiles while reading your messages without realizing it. She becomes visibly affected when you praise another woman. She notices changes in your mood instantly. She cares when you pull away emotionally. Those reactions are difficult to fake consistently because they come from emotional attachment, not performance. And the strongest sign of all, She starts treating your emotional well-being like it matters to her personally, not performatively, not dramatically, quietly. She wants you motivated, peaceful, focused, happy. She feels relief when you're okay. She feels tension when you're struggling. And even if she never says the words directly, her actions begin communicating one dangerous truth. Your emotional state affects mine. That is no longer casual attraction. That is emotional connection forming beneath the surface. And once a woman reaches that stage, hiding her feelings becomes almost impossible, because emotions eventually reveal themselves through patterns, attention, concern, and emotional consistency, no matter how carefully the words are controlled. The final sign is the one most men regret missing, because by the time it becomes obvious, it's usually already been happening for a while. A woman who is secretly falling for you eventually reaches a point where she can't fully hide her emotional investment anymore. Not because she decides to confess, but because her patterns start speaking louder than her pride. She begins prioritizing you in small, almost invisible ways. Not in dramatic sacrifices, in subtle adjustments. Her attention becomes more selective. Even when she is surrounded by other people, part of her awareness is still tuned toward you. If you speak, she notices immediately. If your energy shifts, she picks it up faster than others. If you go quiet, she feels it more than she wants to admit. Because emotional attachment creates internal synchronization, and at this stage, she starts caring about things that affect your life even when you're not asking her to. Your stress, your routine, your mood, your direction, your silence, all of it starts influencing her emotional state in quiet ways. But here's the contradiction. She still tries to act like nothing is happening. She may downplay her concern. She may avoid direct emotional confession. She may even act slightly distant at times, just to regain control over her feelings. But the emotional pattern remains consistent underneath all of it. And consistency is the truth most men overlook. Because words can lie, behavior over time rarely does. When a woman is truly falling for you, she doesn't just show interest, she shows emotional investment. She starts caring without asking permission from logic. She starts feeling connected without needing confirmation. And she starts struggling between expressing it and protecting herself from it. That internal tension doesn't disappear. It builds. Until eventually, she either becomes more emotionally open or she distances herself to avoid emotional vulnerability. But before either of those outcomes, there is always a moment of clarity, a moment where her actions reveal what her words never said. And if you are paying attention, you will notice it clearly. Because real attraction is never just loud signals or obvious flirting. It is patterns. It is emotional reactions. It is consistency under pressure. It is care that appears without explanation. Now ask yourself this. How many times has she shown you care without needing a reason? How often has she reacted emotionally to your presence more than others? And how different is her behavior with you compared to everyone else? Write your answer in the comments. And be honest with yourself while you do. If this video made you rethink her behavior, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to understand what they've been missing.